Did you realise that your choice of wedding dress can actually dictate the pictures we take on your wedding day? Welcome to the wedding walkthrough of Rebecca and Simon at Abbeywood Estate in Cheshire. This is one of my favourite venues that I work at quite a lot. I love the outdoor setting at Abbeywood and the fact that you can get married outside in a couple of locations depending on the size of your wedding. They also have the fantastic glass house. When I first arrive at a wedding, I tend to have a very, very laid back, hands-off approach. Start with some detail shots and some scene setting, let people get used to me being around for the first half an hour. Rebecca had this stunning jewellery with this blue necklace and ring. The blue sapphires. So what I wanted to do, I was hunting around for a location to shoot these in that had the similar kind of blue purpley tones, and I found this little succulent plant outside and a shaded area which did the job perfectly. It was a particularly bright morning, and when I went to see Rebecca getting her hair and makeup done, what I was presented with was the makeup artist had positioned herself right up against the wall next to the window, so I couldn't get any angle other than to shoot towards the window, which is fine, but it just takes a lot of control out of the options that I have. So you can see what happens is that when you take the picture exposed for Rebecca, it bleaches out all of the background and there's no detail there. So I found that the shot that works the best was when the makeup artist was using this fixing spray, which kind of, the sun backlit the spray, creating this misty effect. The makeup artist's arm on the right, just balancing out the composition, and Rebecca's finished makeup. I contrast that with the bridesmaid shot, where I had full control over where I could stand and manipulate the natural light, and you can see how different that picture is. It's those situations where you're forced into problem solving that you often learn the most. So throughout the morning, one of the shots that I had in mind was to get a picture from above which really showed off Rebecca's amazing eyelashes. When I think of a picture that I really want to get to tell a part of the story at any point during the day, I always like to try and get that in an organic, natural way without setting the shot up. So Rebecca just happened to be stood in a good spot, looking down while her bridesmaids were putting her shoes on, and that gave me the perfect opportunity to get the shot I needed without having to kind of interrupt the flow of that morning preparation. The same applies to this picture on the left here, where Rebecca just happens to be looking over to the left as the light's coming in from the right, which means that the texture in her hair really comes to life, and the back of her dress. So just taking the opportunity to get that shot as it is. You can see here how big Rebecca's train is on the right as her brother comes up to see her. So what's quite unique about Abbeywood is that you can have an outdoor ceremony in a few different locations. I think if you've got a slightly larger wedding, this area works the best, down by the trees and by the house. I really love how Simon and his groomsmen went for this kind of sharp black tie look, contrasting that with the really natural surroundings, especially on this kind of dry summer baked day. So usually at Abbeywood I would stay at the top here as you walk through the gardens to the ceremony site. I've already got some pictures on the bridge of Rebecca and her brother before they walked down. I came back down to where the guests and Simon were waiting and just put this composition together where we have a few of the guests on the left, Rebecca emerging from the gardens on the right, just to really tell that story of what it was like to see her for the first time. And because of the distance, usually this shot wouldn't work, but the length of Rebecca's train makes this shot work. By far the best thing about outdoor ceremonies is that you can move about far more than you can in a church or even a hotel setting. So here at Abbeywood, I can get that big wide angle shot from the back, taking in the trees and the house and all the guests, and then just quietly move around the side of the ceremony and start shooting from different angles, zooming in and getting these more emotional reactions and little moments. A short while after the ceremony, I like to take you two off for a short walk around the gardens, maybe 10-15 minutes. And that's when we get those really nice, relaxed portrait shots of you two away from your guests. I would normally walk around the different areas of Abbeywood and kind of look out for what's looking particularly well at that moment on that day. But in Rebecca's case, because she has such a long train, it was actually really difficult to move between the different areas of the Abbeywood Gardens, so that totally changed my approach. I decided to just pick 2 or 3 spots around the Abbeywood Gardens that would give me enough space to show Rebecca's dress, that also enabled me to get closer with really nice light on them two, just to pick out those emotional moments and those more intimate portraits. It would have been absolutely impossible for us to get into the woods at Abbeywood or to walk right down to the lower gardens unless we would have put aside maybe an hour, which is just not my style, and I want you to enjoy your wedding as much as get a really nice set of pictures from the day. Just before I took Rebecca and Simon off into the gardens, Rebecca was just stood just in the right way for me to get a really lovely shot of her bouquet. Her wedding rings were in line with the bouquet, so they're in focus. We also get her nail varnish and the champagne and some details of the dress and her bracelet, all in one shot without her even knowing I'm taking the picture. So again, rather than setting these kind of shots up, I prefer to just get them when the moment arises, letting you just relax more really and not feel like you've been photographed to death all day. A few clouds had moved in by this point, creating kind of the perfect light to photograph flowers in. So Rebecca's actually just out in the open here under a bright but slightly cloudy sky. And again, she's just chatting to her guests, and I've just moved in and got this really close up of the peonies in her bouquet. I love taking this kind of picture. This was a fantastic spot. I love this bit of Abbeywood anyway. But the ground's flat and dry, so we can lay her dress out without any worries. I've got lots of space to move around, so I can get some shots from the back. I can move in close because the light's beautiful on them too. And then just a few steps off to the right of this picture is this location where I'm taking a little bit more control of the light for these more intimate portraits, and just let Simon and Rebecca just have a moment together and enjoy this little time away from the wedding guests, and I can capture those moments. I do actually spend the vast majority of a wedding just walking around and photographing guests having a good time and interacting with each other in these little moments that are happening. In the past at Abbeywood, I really love walking down to the lower part of the estate where there's the like meadow field areas with longer grass and small trees, and that gives me a real playground for the evening sun. It gives me lots of options. In Rebecca's case, there's just no way we could get down there. So during the meal, I walked around the gardens, and I actually found that the spot in which they got married could give me a wide variety of shots without having to move Rebecca and Simon at all. So you can see here that when I shoot with the evening sun directly on Rebecca and Simon, I can get this really vivid blue sky, all the detail in the trees, and it works really well for these kind of wider shots. The problem is that towards the end of the day, your makeup's starting to wear a little bit, and that really harsh direct sunlight isn't the best for closer, more intimate pictures. But the clever bit about this spot is that when you move around to the other side, you get an entirely different picture. So Rebecca and Simon haven't moved at all. I've moved. I think I'm sat in a bush. You can see the hanging lanterns, and it's exactly the same position, but an entirely different feel and a different picture, which worked so well. And then when I was totally happy that I got what I wanted in terms of full length shots, I then asked them to just step maybe 5 steps towards me into the shade of the tree. And again, we got a totally different feel. Really beautiful golden tones with the kind of really dry grass and that evening golden sun. So we managed to get a really wide variety of pictures in a really small area. Another unique feature about Abbeywood is the fact that you have your reception in the glass house, And you can see here that even into the evening when the guests are on the dance floor, you still get this really nice natural daylight look. And I think it's only kind of 10:30, 11 p.m. really when you really start to get that kind of disco light atmosphere. So thank you for watching this video. I hope it's been of some use to you, even if you're not getting married at Abbeywood, and I'll see you next time.